Alright, so Final Fantasy VIII. This event will be on the 13th, on Thursday. On 12th will be the Torment. On Wednesday. We get a new Legend Dive for Quistis. Reduces damage taken by BLK attacks by 10%. It's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. But our Legend Materia 2 more than makes up for it with grants haste and Instacast 3 at the beginning of the battle. Last event before Festival? I don't think so. Yeah, it is. It is. So Quistis gets a good Legend Dive. Is she a good enough character to make use of it? Not yet, but maybe we'll see that on the banners. We got a new ability, Spark Rush, 5-star Monk, 4 lightning attacks, plus 20% crit chance. It's just like Icicle Rush, just like Gaia Rush, just like Burning Rush. One of those abilities, the really bad Monk ability. This is going to be an instant shatter for me because the only person in the game that can really make use of this is Raijin. And if I'm ever going to use Raijin, I'm probably going to be using his burst commands instead. So, they put this in the game for Raijin's USB, which debuts on the second banner of this event. And, yeah, it's not really a good banner. So, I don't expect that one to get much use. Let's take a look at the banners themselves. Banner 1, we've got 5 6 stars. It is the debut of the new banner format. So it's just like the banner format used in previous festivals, which is pretty nice. And considering the fact that every one of these 5 stars is very good, makes this kind of a hype event, which is unfortunate for a lot of people who don't have a mithril buffer, because this is very close to the festival, 2 weeks away from the festival, which means you're going to want a lot of mithril if you want to pull on the hype banner. Luckily, almost every single Final Fantasy VIII banner is a hype banner, so it's okay for, fulfilling needs. It's okay for putting this off, but at the same time, this is the event that the Final Fantasy VIII Torment comes out on, and if you're looking for ways to defeat various levels of the final difficulty of the Final Fantasy VIII Torment, this is the banner you're pretty much looking at. Because if I recall correctly, the festival probably won't have anything that you're really looking for, besides Renoa's USB 3, her Earth Brave USB, which is not a great thing for the Torment, because I don't think there's really anything else for Earth in Final Fantasy VIII, and if you're trying to align your elemental synergy in a Torment, which should be a goal, Ice is obviously the way to go in Final Fantasy VIII. So this is basically your Torment banner. Garou is, just like all Torments, is weak to all elements. All Torments are weak to all elements. So that one's an easy one to remember. None of them favor a single element. Alright, so let's get started on this banner. Renoa's ASB, 3 single target, ice, and earth attacks that can break damage cap. Awesome. And it's an ice thrown weapon. Even better. Great. Renoa USB 2, 10 single target. And ice, black magic plus 30% boost, and brave mode. I like this because it works together well with Renoa's dive. Renoa's dive is one of those weird that you kind of don't understand the value of it until you use it. Basically, as long as you get a charge of quick, or as as long as you trigger her quick cast once, it's I think a 35% chance to grant yourself quick cast 3. As long as you do it once, you basically have perma quick cast for the entire fight. It's not as good as one of the trance LM2s, but it's still really good. And you don't even have to use it if you don't want to, but I think I probably would over starting the battle with an element, which we do have on here. Renoa LMR2, start battle with N-Ice. Renoa LMR3, 25% chance to dual cast black. If I were using Renoa's USB 2 and I didn't have a form of quick cast in the battle, then quick cast from her LM2 is really valuable. So it's nice that Renoa has a bunch of options for Legend Materia. You just use the ones that work with the team. But anyway, you getting an Ice and Black Magic 30% boost means that Renoa is going to deal a ton of damage with her attacks. So you want to speed up those attacks to deal more damage with her. Especially since this is a Brave mode, and the faster you go, the better, because you want to charge up this Brave. You want to charge up the Brave. And since this is the first time that we've seen one of these, I will talk about it a little bit. This is a lot of text to explain what's actually a kind of a really easy mechanic to understand. It's just a charge up. So it's kind of like a burst USB. That's all. But instead of, like, say Squall's Burst Soul Break 2, for instance. You use the first command, you use it 3 times, and then you use the second command. And it does a lot of damage. It's very similar to that. The differences are you use abilities instead, which is good, because abilities are a hell of a lot better than burst commands. You use abilities to charge up the Brave command instead. You only get one command. It's on your attack command. Your defend command is left intact. And when you use the Brave command, it expends all charges. Which, you know, it stinks, but it's acceptable when you realize how much damage these Brave commands do. Which is a lot. It's basically an OSB as far as how much damage it does. It breaks the damage cap. So what you do, and what this whole line explains here, is when you use a USB with a Brave mode on it, you start out with 1 charge. You have a max of 3. So it's really easy to understand. You use the Brave USB. You use 2 abilities. That gives you a fully charged command. Because you start out with 1, and you use 2 more, and it charges it up to 3. Then you use the command, then you go back to using abilities. The Brave command does not go away. It just sets you back to 0 charges. It does not go away. So you could, with enough quick cast, or instant cast, or whatever, with the ability to attack fast enough, you could potentially ability, Brave command, and then it sets you to 0, not back to 1. So you would need to use ability, then Brave command. That makes, in order to use 2 Brave commands within the span of a Brave mode, you will need to act 7 times, which it isn't that bad with quick casts. Dual casts do not give a second charge. So it's strong and easier to understand than the dual cast. I know personally when I'm using Squall's BSB2, I forget if I've dual casted all the time. Maybe that's me. I'm a little absent-minded, and I tunnel vision a lot during battles, so that's me. But this is a lot easier to understand. Ability, Brave. Ability, Brave. Yes, please, ask your questions now. I'd like to not have to refer and talk about this entire block of text every time it comes up. I will go to Enliers and talk about the multiplier, since you haven't seen that. Yeah, actually I will, Lou. I'm going to try to go back to making my own event previews, like you're watching now. And in doing so, there we go. Make it a little larger. In doing so, that allows me to, what I've done is link the animations here, and I'm going to do the animations as part of the event previews now. Because I'm not doing distant previews anymore, so I wouldn't be double dipping and showing the animations. Yeah, similar. Not the same at all. It's just similar. It's just a charge up mechanic. That's it. So, Renoa has 2 Brave USBs. The second one she'll be getting during the festival. This one is for Ice. That one's for Earth. But they're both the exact same thing. With 0 charges, you only do a 7.92 multiplier attack. With 1 charge, what you start out with the Brave command will do a 12.0. With 2, you'll do a 20.8, which is already above a Soul Break. So if you only get 6 actions, it's still probably a pretty good idea to use this attack. Unless you're trying to charge a chain or something. And with 3, she gets a 35.0. That's just under what an OSB does. So that's a pretty powerful attack. The only way you're exceeding the amount of damage that she can do with her Brave command is if you're using her USB 1 and you dual cast with her LM2. So you're banking on a 25% chance to dual cast with an ability, and you're getting her chase. That's how you exceed the amount of damage her Brave command can do. So if you want to take the gamble, you can go for it. But her fully charged Brave command is generally better to use than her abilities. Brave commands do generate 75 soul break points, and since they're probably going to be exploiting weakness, that means that they generate 50% more soul break points, which gives her just over 100, or all these people just over 100 soul break points every time you use a Brave command. The point of Brave commands is for the mechanic in 5-star Magicite. I don't know if anyone's mentioned this in chat yet, but one, sorry, I've got a cat. A trait that the 5-star Magicites have is that they go into like enrage modes that can only be popped out of if you hit them with an attack that breaks the damage cap, and that's basically exactly what the Brave modes are for. Yeah, this is now a Blender stream. So not only are these pretty good damaging abilities, but they serve a purpose of breaking the damage cap for timely breaking bosses out of their enrage modes. The command will only break the damage cap if it has more than 1 charge. So this one right here, the 7.92, even if it does 9,999 damage or more, it will only ever do that much. These other 3, though, are allowed to break the damage cap. So there will be times when you're going to want to use your Brave command even at a lower level, because it just makes sense to do so at that point in the fight. So that's Brave modes. They're not always better than regular USBs. In fact, a lot of regular USBs are better than these. These just serve a certain purpose, and they can be really good. Like in Terra's instance. Terra has a trance, so she naturally attacks quickly. So she works really well with the Brave mode versus her USB-1, which just gives her another way to grant her quick cast. And stacking quick casts, you know, it's not really all that valuable after the first or second one. So Terra's Brave is actually pretty good, while Rinoa's is not as good. It's still good, but not as good as Terra's because of the way the characters are built. Because Rinoa's USB-1 is a rank-based chase, which is extremely powerful. Okay. Blender's now lying down. We can go back to regular view. Rinoa's USB-1 is incredible. Being a rank-based chase, and the fact that she can do 100,000 damage a turn just by using Vortex and R5 Vortex and having a 6-hit chase. Also adding 10 charges to a chain. And the ability to dual cast for 4 more hits. That's really, really nice. But this is obviously still a really powerful thing, and especially if you don't have Rinoa's USB-1 like me. So I would very much like to pull this. Next up, Quistis USB. It doesn't look like much. But it is. Because it's really good in the Torment. HP stock 2000 haste, attack magic, and resistance plus 30% for 25 seconds to the party is really, really nice in the Torment. Just being able to haste and give a hybrid buff to the party, and HP stock 2000, which allows you to survive the beginning parts of the fight, which is surprisingly pretty important because it allows you to cast abilities with your healer and Quistis better. Remember, Quistis is a White Mage 4 with a record dive, so it's pretty nice. So this is probably not something you're going to use outside of Torment, but it's still really good inside the Torment. And, you know, that's where all the rewards are right now, so it's kind of nice. Next up, Laguna's Chain. We've seen this before. It's a Gen 2 chain. It's awesome because Laguna's awesome. Carrying on. Squall USB 2 is the USB version of his Bursal Break 2. Sometimes his BSB 2 is better to cast than his USB 2. But what I really like about Squall's USB 2 is that its damage curve isn't as backloaded as his BSB 2. When he uses BSB 2, you're stuck casting his first command at least twice, which is really bad damage. You're okay with the trade-off because the second command fully charged is just awesome. But his USB 2 does more damage first and less damage later than his BSB 2. That's all I'm saying, is the damage curve is a little more flat. So it's more useful in more situations. If you've got the time to use the burst, go ahead, use the burst. If you've got time to use both, I guess. I just don't know any fights in the game where you're able to use both. I guess once the Magicite comes out, you could make a case for it. Because 5-star Magicite, you can sub 30 them, but it's not like that's a huge goal. The only rewards you get for sub 30 are double cast and Squall USB 2 does work. It does advance the counter. So it's powerful in that way, just like his BSB 2. So anyway, 5-star Magicites, the rewards for sub 30 aren't that great. It's just Arcana. And while that's nice, it's not like it's that's essential. It's not like the Torments where, hey, 5-star motes and crystals. Thanks. So if you want a sub 60, go right ahead. If you want to use Squall with his USB2 and his BSB2 together, please, by all means, just do it. But in the context of Torment, which is, in my opinion, the important content to focus on, is his USB2 is probably better because there's more hits involved. And being able to advance the Realm Chain is more important than just dealing 1,000,000 damage with his Command 2. Because you're also relying on the damage output done by the rest of the team, like Rinoa. And Laguna. Laguna benefits very much from having a chain. Or advancing the chain. So that's their 5 6-stars. None of them are bad. They're all really good. So this is a really awesome banner to start out the new format with. Very good output, yes. Squall's USB2 and Snow Spell Strike is very, very good. We've got 3 glints on the banner too, which is nice. Which really reduces the amount of bursts on the banner. There's only 2 bursts, and both of them are actually really good bursts. But as for the glints, we've got Rinoa, who uses a Bart's type glint. Instantaneous, high quick cast black magic. So there's her quick cast. That'll last 15 seconds for 3 times cast speed. And black magic rank boost. So there's no type on this. It actually makes Rinoa a respectable mage in all elements. Because she can glint and use her LM2 for quick cast, more quick casts, for basically making instantaneous abilities. But I think if you're using your glint, I'd probably use her LM1 instead. I think her LM1 is plus BLK damage. Yes, BLK damage 10%. And her LMR3 for a 25% chance to dual cast black. That makes her an all-elemental mage. Not on the level of someone like Vivi or Palom, but it's still respectable. And like Bart's, there will be times where you never use this if you're dealing ice or earth damage with Rinoa. Because the Soul Bright points are just better spent on abilities that deal, you know, have extra effects on them, like chases and, you know, brave commands. But it's still a really nice glint, just like Bart's. Quistis Glint, instant Stone Skin plus 30% protect and shell to party. That's the thing I was talking about with Quistis' USB. The HP stock that you use at the beginning of the fight actually allows you to carry whatever you want on your healer. Because Quistis, with her glint and USB, can take care of protect and shell and haste all by herself, and buffing. And that's, you know, that's pretty nice. Man, I haven't heard Faxanadu in a while. Not essential to have by any means, but still, it's a nice thing to have. Because Quistis does get good. And Squall Glint, just a typical NI stacking high quick cast 2 glint. Squall BSB2, we know what that does. I've already talked about it in here. Laguna BSB2 is an interesting one because Laguna's chain is not necessarily a torment thing. You can use it. Absolutely, you can use it. Because it does benefit you to use an ice team in the torment, and that, yeah, we do have a blender in the skillet spot again. But you could elect to not use this and just use the Realm Chain instead. That's fine. And Laguna has other options at ice. He has a Super Soul Break for Imperil, which is probably better than his BSB2. But he has his BSB2 and he has his USB. It is good that his BSB2 is here on this banner because that gives Laguna another really nice ice option. And it is good. It gives him an ice. And just with his BSB2, he's probably worth diving because his dive is so good and he'll probably deal a ton of damage, dual casting machinist abilities, and helping out Renoa and Squall deal damage in the Torment. And he even doesn't have to worry about Hones that much because he can use his Command 2 to instant cast Machinist twice. So what you would do is use his Command 2 once, instant cast the 5-star Machinist, then go back to Command 2, and you alternate. Bam, 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 bam. So you're always instant casting with Laguna. Very powerful in a situation where you have no external quick cast, like the Torment. Sorry, Blender crossed in front of the screen. Okay, next up, LMRs. I already talked about Renoa's LMRs. They're very typical. Start battle with a nice. LMR 3, 25% chance to dual cast. Very powerful. This is one of the better pickups on the banner. Quistis LMR, 25% chance to dual cast black. Also a good thing, because that allows her to advance the chain in the fight more. And Squall start battle with an ice. Also a good thing, so he can start doing a lot of damage with Snow Spell Strike immediately in the fight. Honestly, there are no bad relics on this banner. None. Unless they're a dupe, of course. Which Squall BSB2 is for a vast majority of the people. Playing Final Fantasy Record Keeper at the moment. So, what's everyone think of Banner 1? Squall LMR is not Ice Armor Felfreen. Squall Glint is plus Ice. I have not yet, Dragon. One thing I would like to go over, is this banner launches on the 13th. This event is going to last into October. I know it's going to be hard to resist if you planned on pulling on this banner. It's going to be hard for me to resist. But I would suggest not pulling on the banner immediately. Wait until we learn the contents of the festival. Incredible output. Laguna's USB and Ice Machinist skill is basically the ideal scenario for Laguna in the Torment. Right, wait after the lucky draws. Wait after the Final Fantasy VIII Realm on Parade. Wait, please. You don't know what's on the festival banners yet, Mattias. And that's why you wait, because we need to learn what is on the festival banners before pulling here. And I will wait. As much as I would like to pull, immediately I will have to wait. I'm probably going to have a stream on the day that the banner launches, just to offer that warning again. Don't get Purple Haze, and don't pull before this comes up. Or Festival comes up and we get all our luckies and stuff like that. Other than that, oops, I was already on that page. There is a Final Fantasy VIII banner in the very distant future I've got an ETA until after the next festival. In 2019. Realm on Parade will not have these, but the Luckies will, Rainmaker. Because the Lucky Draws are always everything up to the day of the launch of the Lucky Draw. So, this Banner 2 of this Final Fantasy VIII is really good, but kind of different. Where we've got Renoa's ASB, but instead of Squall's USB 2, we've got Squall's ASB here instead. Kind of nice. Laguna's Chain again. Renoa's Ice Brave again. Quistis's Ultra again. And Selphie's USB 2. So, this banner, I think, is... well, it's better. It's got 6 stars on it. It's after that format change. I think it's the first banner in that format change, because Final Fantasy VIII is the favored realm in Final Fantasy Record Keeper, for some reason. That's not the point he was trying to make, Anger. I think he was talking about he was able to do it himself. Of course, the highest difficulty is doable now. We've seen people sub 30 it. Yeah, I have Selphie's USB. So it makes this banner less good, because I don't care that much about this. The Astra is useful because it allows me to use something other than Unicorn in the fight. Yeah, not after that last event, Lou. But Squall's ASB here is the big difference in my eyes. If you have Selphie's USB already, and it's very tempting. So when I make my pulls on this Final Fantasy VIII event, if I do, I probably will. There's almost nothing that's going to stop me from doing it. If I end up with stuff that makes this banner make sense to pull on, then I will. Like, if I pull Squall's USB 2, that's probably when I'm going to start thinking about whether or not to delay my pulls until this banner instead. Because this banner has another advantage other than having Squall's ASB on here, which is important, by the way, for the Garo Garo fight. Skipping one of his phases is pretty nice, and that's why you don't really... I'm only talking about the highest difficulty, by the way. You should be able to do fine on the fight with a bunch of stuff not listed here. But getting Renoa's ASB will be pretty important towards doing a sub 30 on the highest difficulty. Oh, anyway, I was talking about Laguna's LMR. Laguna's LMR is not on this. Unfortunately, Squall's LMR is. But Laguna's LMR is here, and a 25% chance of Machinist adding a minor Imperil Ice on the boss is incredible for the Torment, and it's not listed there. So this banner does have that going for it as well. What else? No Quistis LMR, which is regrettable, but okay. Otherwise, it's very, very similar. So I want everyone to have this banner open when you do your pulls on this Final Fantasy VIII banner, if you do at all, because the similarities may cause you to say, okay, this all of a sudden became better to just wait until the next banner, because, you know, I got Squall's USB 2. Or, I don't have Selfie's USB, so all of a sudden this becomes real useful. It's not an easy question. I can't decide that until I see the festival. Yeah, likewise for me. Since I do have Selfie's USB, which is an excellent USB, I'm probably going to be pulling on this banner instead. And then, if I pull the right things, then I'll say, okay, I'll wait. But I'm probably going in on this one. Anyway, there you go. There's your, like, direct comparison. Oh, God. Jaw hurts. Banner 2, Fusion ASB. So here's another ASB in the realm. It's a 20 hitter. Problem is, she's the only person in the realm that does wind damage. So you're not going to be pairing up her damage output with anybody else. Well, Squall can use Snowspell Strike, but it's not like he gets any real damage boosts. Like N-Ice, or there's no Imperils or anything like that. So while the ASB would be a very nice thing to have, and I'd probably use it if I had it, it's not something to pull for the Torment. And I guess that's what we're trying to talk about here. Well, you know, are these banners make sense to pull on? Ultimacia, that's a good call. That's a good point. I completely forgot about her. Thank you for bringing that up. And she's not bad. Ultimacia has a Squall-like burst, but that's it. That's it. I suppose that's good enough. Raijin USB. This is definitely Magicite stuff. 50% crit chance and Lightning Radiant Shield. Elemental Radiant Shields don't really do much in Torment unless you're using an Elemental Chain, which there is no Lightning Chain in Final Fantasy VIII, so... Because Radiant Shields aren't counted as damage coming from the characters themselves, so it's not counted as realm damage, so it doesn't add to the chain, or it doesn't benefit from the chain's damage boost. So this isn't that desirable. It's probably pretty good in the Torment. Let me see. 50% crit? Yeah. Sora, Kain. Aranea. Yeah, I think most of the physical lightning characters can benefit from 50% crit chance. Selfie USB 2, talked about it a little. It's a super soul break, but it's a powerful one. Instantaneous, Curaga Medica, and Astra. The re-raise is... It's fine. You do raise in the fight with walls still intact. But really what you're looking at here is the Astra. Garo Garo is a very status-heavy fight, and being able to Astra certain things in the fight is useful. That will allow you to use a better Magicite instead of Unicorn, which allows you to deal more damage, so consider having Astra here the ability to deal more damage in the fight. Cypher Chain, good, but yeah. It's going to be a very long time before this becomes useful. 2 festivals, in fact. This festival, the festival after that, and then yet another festival. So 3 festivals until the Holy Magicite for 5-star comes out. So this is not a pressing need for anybody, unless you still need Siren help. In which case, yeah, that's good. Because you should have the ability to kill Siren. I would very much recommend killing Siren, because FFVIII is an incredible Magicite, and everyone should have 5,000 of them. Fusion USB, good thing to go with her ASB. It's a nice chase. It's a respectable chase. Every 2 attacks and cannot be dual casted out. So it's every 2 actions and not every 2 abilities on her chase. Fusion's Glint, instant, medium buff wind, high quick cast 2. This is one of the worst types of glints and not all that useful. Cypher BSB 2, Dark Radiant Shield, good to go with this chain. Fusion BSB, not all that useful anymore, except for the Wind Thrown weapon, which she has 2 other Wind Thrown weapons on the banner, which are both 6-star. So, kind of gets lost now. I can sub 30 Midgard Zorma with my wind team, my magical wind team now, and Fusion doesn't use her BSB at all. She uses her Super Soul Break exclusively. Her BSB, since debuffs fell off the train, is not all that useful anymore. Raijin BSB is for funsies. That's that's pretty much it. Selfie BSB 2 is a good healer Soul Break. So this is, they're trying to position this as the healer banner, but damn, if I need selfie heals, I'm saying screw this event, and I'm delaying until the event in the future. You remembered, yes. The Cognazo dance. So yeah, they're trying to say that this banner is your healer banner. If you're, you know, if you need that kind of stuff, but no. I'm waiting until the next festival. Raijin LMR 2-star battle with Enlightening. That'd be nice if he really had a way to make use of that. He doesn't. His 5-star ability stinks. And if you're using his burst commands, you've already have Enlightening because you've used his burst. I suppose it's something with his... I didn't talk about his USB at all, did I? Oh yeah, I did. Oh, so is that... His LMR is good with his USB. Sorry about that. It is good. Ish. For Magicite. Fusion LMR, Star Ball with M Wind, obviously a good thing for her. Selfie LMR. Is that a chance to last stand somebody when using a single target heal? Suck. Cypher LMR, Star Ball with Dark. Good. Honestly, I don't really like this banner that much. The things that it does well, magical wind damage, physical dark damage, physical lightning. It doesn't even really do physical lightning that well. So let's say physical dark, Final Fantasy VIII healing, and magical wind is all stuff we don't need right now. It's not a good torment banner. And the Magicite stuff that it conquers is so far into the future. The Earth Magicite, which Fusion will be good against, forever. It's going to be forever until we have that. And the Holy Magicite that Cypher is good against, going to be forever. Even more than forever than we have to deal with that. So I don't like this banner at all. Okay, and something I want to point out, now that I've gone over this banner. You see, I did something a little different between these banners. On this one, I have a description for every soul break on the banner, even the ones that are reoccurring. Like Squall BSB 2, I've got everything here. On this banner, I only do the new stuff. Everything else is just, if it's got an elemental characteristic, then I call it out. I think this is the way I'm going to do it from now on, because this took way too long. To do all of them, that sucked. If I continue to do these event descriptions, I'm taking the shortcut. And you can listen to me talk about what these actually do in the video. Boop boop beep boop. I was driving last night, and this song came on. This is such a great driving song. Adia, my middle name is doing more than unnecessary work. I'm an executive director for Big Bang Burger. All right, let's look at some animations. Unless people disagree with me on second banner, bring it up. What's this? Renoa's ASB. It's supposed to be an ice and earth attack. Where was the earth there? Was the earth showing the earth getting obliterated by an ice crystal? The earth is the planet. Okay, fine. Am I single? I'm playing Final Fantasy Record Keeper, of course I am. That looks painful. It wasn't very complex, but that looked really painful. It's like winter in New England. So what they're going to do here is charge up the Brave commands. Remember, 2 abilities, 1 Brave. There you go, there's your OSB. Quistis USB. It's actually kind of awesome. It's actually pretty awesome. She is the king of Triple Triad after all. I appreciate the thought, Mattias. Thank you. I love Triple Triad as well. Who didn't? Renoa Galint? You know, as far as Galints go, I really like that because that's really, really FFVIII. That is her obvious cool limit break in Final Fantasy VIII. Angel Wing. I was a Renoa user in Final Fantasy VIII myself. You know, just taking all offensive magic off of Renoa and throwing Meteor on her, and then just haste and Angel Winging her and just kind of putting the controller down and watching her beat everything in the game. Took way too much setup. There's definitely better ways to, and more effective ways to defeat bosses, but that's how I like to do it. More than 6 months from now, that's all I can answer. Nobody took my lunch in high school. So there's nothing to be sorry about. Quistis Glint. So that's boring. At least Renault is like called to the game. Second banner. It's all right. Okay. I like that. I really like that animation. Selfie's got some good animations. Not that one. Fusion Glint. Normal Glint boringness. Alright, there you go. So we're at the end. So everyone think. Is everyone going to hold fast and strong with me and wait until we've, like, finished doing the lucky draws, at least? Before we pull on this banner? Right, the USB 1. That's kind of what I'm calling back on, is Selfie's USB 1 animations are really fun. A little bit, yeah. My top two right now for the USB select are Laguna and Vivi. If you know you're going to pull, then pull. Go for it. But I think the lucky draws that come with the festival, which are kind of important. There's an LMR lucky draw, which a lot of people may not pull on. But the USB lucky draw might change your mind. The USB Select is a $30 one, yes. ETA is asking specifically because a little less than a year ago, ETA donated 3,000 bits on Twitch for me to be able to pull on something. I think it was a lucky draw. Or it was another time on a Final Fantasy Tactics banner. And I just never used it. So I'll be using it on the USB Select in this festival. How necessary is Tyra USB Magicite? Not at all. No, it wasn't ETA. It was on the Marsh USB debut. I think. Yeah, because the Orlando USB debut was also on the Alma USB debut. And I knew that I was only pulling once going into that. It was the Marsh USB debut that I pulled like 5 times. And that's what made you feel bad. Yes, yes I will, Hammer Time. Probably popular characters, Ryan. You can skip this song. We listened to it already. Exactly. I wanted to pull for Ramses USB. I think... I still want Ramses USB, but I think I got blinded a little bit too much by it and should have saved my pulls for the next banner instead. Because the next Tactics banner with Orlando USB and Marsh USB would have been a much better place to spend that Mithril. Oh well, fandom got blinded me. I'll take that. Not worth the selection, no. It's not as pivotal to taking down a Torment like Laguna's USB or Vivi's USB.